I think if you asked Cowboys fans about what's worried them the most through the first month of the season, I think a lot of people would say the defense, because that has been one of the clearest issues when it comes to this team and winning games. And now with Micah out, Lawrence out, Bland still not back in the lineup, I think it worries us even more. But what if I told you there's a pretty simple fix to making this defense better through the next few weeks and potentially into the playoffs? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video, so let's get into it. Through 4 weeks, the Cowboys have given up the 8th most yards per game in the NFL. They've allowed the 6th most points per game, the 8th most yards per play, and ranked 28th in EPA per play. Not very inspiring numbers through the first month of the season, but there's something that they have to do better moving forward, and it would cut down a lot of those numbers. Tackle better. One of this defense's root problems has been tackling, and the numbers back it up. The Cowboys defense has converted on 84.6% of their tackle opportunities so far this year. That is the 5th lowest rate in the entire NFL. With that, Dallas has allowed the 6th most yards after missed tackles, allowing 195 through 4 weeks. For reference, the Titans are only allowing about 243 yards total per game, which means that the Dallas defense has allowed nearly a full game of yards just on missed tackles alone. That's not going to help you get off the field on 3rd or 4th down, and we saw the two sides of the spectrum when you compare week 3 to week 4. Against the Ravens, the tackling was awful, and it costed them a ton of yards. In week 4, against the Giants, the tackling was much better. From week 3, just look at some of these missed tackle percentages from that game. 37.5%, 25%, 25, 28, 33, 14. When your defense has guys missing 1 out of every 3 tackles or 1 out of every 2 tackles, it's gonna be hard to get stops and not let teams pick up an extra 2 to 3 yards per play. Against the Giants, it was a little bit better, especially DeMarvion Overshown, who missed just 1 tackle and had 7 in that game. But it still wasn't perfect, and the Giants had numerous drives stay alive on 3rd and 4th down because you can't get a stop. You're allowing guys to break tackles. And it's both the run defense and pass defense that aren't getting guys on the ground. Dallas is in the top half of the league in terms of separation allowed on routes. They're 10th in terms of quarterback pressure percentage as well. Those are pretty good stats to be in the top 10. To add icing on the cake, their run defense ranks 11th in rushing yards allowed before contact per attempt. But the kicker is, they rank 26th in yards after contact per attempt because they are simply not tackling. Ranking 26th, they've allowed 3.5 rushing yards after contact per attempt. For reference, last year, they ranked 7th in that category. According to NFL Pro, for the pass defense, Dallas has allowed 129 yards after catch over expected, which means the receiver was expected to be tackled based on where defenders were when they caught the ball, and they weren't. That 129 yards over expected ranks 31st in the league, only behind Tampa Bay by 1 yard. In the entirety of the 2023 season, in 17 weeks last year, the defense only allowed 248 yards over expected on catches. So for this defense, there's an obvious problem that we can stick a number to. Before we continue, I wanted to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, BetUS. Football, basketball, ice hockey, baseball, whatever you need, BetUS has you covered. My favorite part is that you can filter by props, conferences, divisions, playoff specials, anything that you want. It's right there at your fingertips. So head over to BetUS and get an awesome deal with the deposit bonus and start playing this Sunday. They have an awesome promotion right now where you get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and then 125% on your next 2. And if you win, they have you covered with fast and easy payout. Thank you so much to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back into it. The missed tackles are way too high, and it's a big reason that we've seen drives just stay alive for 6, 7, 8 minutes at a time because they just can't get off the field. And although it's a problem, I think it's a fixable one. I mean, before Zimmer got here, the tackling was fine. It wasn't the best in the league, but it wasn't getting you killed like it has been over the first few weeks of this year. And I'm not blaming it all on Zimmer, but with these numbers, the evidence that we have through an entire month of the year, it's got to be a point of emphasis for this unit over the next few months. I think a lot of their problems stem from just the basic fundamentals. They're allowing an extra 2 to 3 yards on plays, and that will kill you in the long run. If it's something that they can clean up, I think the defense takes it up a pretty big step. Just like we saw in the Giants game, the tackling was much better, and in return, the run defense looked much better. They still kind of struggled to get off the field on third down with some missed tackles here and there, but they weren't getting consistently gashed. And let's say this, I know that tackling isn't just going to make this unit top 5 in the league, but it at least makes them formidable in terms of not giving up big plays and getting off the field on third down. Two things they have really struggled to do. Right now, their chances of winning games would be so much better if they were just average at tackling. And sure, it isn't an easy fix if you've always had a bad tackling team, but these guys weren't. This is pretty much the same unit you had in 2023. It hasn't been a problem until this year. So now it's time to keep the tackling as a point of emphasis through the next few weeks. It's plays like this, Donovan Wilson getting into the backfield, Zimmer dialed it up correctly. You are in a perfect position to get off the field on fourth down, and he completely whiffs on this tackle. And no offense to Devin Singletary, but that is not a super dynamic back that you shouldn't be able to bring down where you make contact with him. It's going to need to be a point of emphasis, especially in the Steelers game. If Jaylen Warren can go this week off of an injury, George Pickens can hurt you if you don't wrap him up, and Calvin Austin is a speedster that can burn you if you don't get him to the ground. With the injuries that the Cowboys have, the lack of pass rush without Micah being in the game, it's going to be impossible to get off the field consistently if you can't do the simple things first. And I think fixing that is a really good start to fixing this defense. After looking over the numbers, really looking into what has gone wrong, cornerbacks allowing too much separation hasn't really been an issue. The pass rush hasn't been great, but it hasn't been the worst in the league. But the glaring problem has been the yards after contact, the yards over expected, what guys should be allowing, but are allowing more. It just needs to be fixed. And I think this unit can look completely different if it does. Now, it's not going to make it perfect because I think there still are issues to fix, but it can at least push you into the top half of the league in terms of yards given up, points given up, time of possession. Fix the tackling for a few weeks, and I think we'll see an entirely different unit. So that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. What else should this defense fix? What do they need? Go down there and comment your answer. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye.